So here's a short video to show a horizontal game elf running vertical games. This is a game elf that I bought about a year ago. When I initially ordered it, it was the 512 in one game elf. By the time it arrived to me, the seller actually included the 619 in one card instead of the 512. Now all of these game elves are actually the same hardware, they're just running different software. There's nothing different about the hardware. If you've got the vertical version, the horizontal version, 512 in one, 619, 138, whatever the hell you've got. But this is a vertical cabinet, a piece of junk that I picked up a couple weeks ago. I've got a VGA 19-inch monitor mounted in it right now because the CRT in it was horrible and needed recapped, and I haven't got around to it yet. Right now I've got the original 619 in one SD card that came with it, and as you can see, this is of course it's sideways because I've got the monitor mounted vertically, but as you can see, I'll load up one of the first games on the list there, a Neo Geo game, just to show you that it is the original SD card that came with it. Okay, there you go, and it's King of Fighters 2000, 619 one, horizontal game elf. Okay, let me cut it off. Reach down in here. I'm going to pull out the SD card. This is the original SD card that came in the game elf. It has a little label on it that says, of course it won't focus on it, but it says 619 in one, and then it also has the serial number of the game elf written on it on the sticker. Now here is my homemade SD card. It's actually a micro SD card in a regular SD card adapter. This contains the hacked software. It has I think it's 422 in one was the vertical game elf. You can find the information on the KLOV, that's Killer List of Video Games forums. This is the vertical software, 422 in one, and it also has the high score hack on it, so it will save all of your high scores from the games, which is something that none of the original game elves do. So take it down here, pop it in the system, crank it on, and this was a really crappy cabinet. Had an Ajax conversion in it. I think maybe it was a Gorf cabinet to start with or something. I don't know. It's horrible. I got it give to me. And as you can see, here it is. It's the horizontal version. Has all of the horizontal games on it, and because most of the games on the horizontal version are, with the exception of a few, from the golden age of arcades from the early 80s, it runs 10,000 times better than the horizontal version. There's still a lot of crap that doesn't run. There's stuff that uses trackballs. There's stuff that uses 8-way rotating joysticks like Guerrilla War and a lot of the SNK titles. There's a lot of new stuff on it that doesn't run because the little crappy cell phone processor that's in the game elf just can't handle it. But the classic stuff, it runs absolutely great, and it runs it much better than if you've ever seen one of these little 60 in one vertical classic game PCB. It runs them all better than that. And then on top of that, I'll show you, I also have Let's see if Donkey Kong picks it up. It also has high saving enabled, and you can see my gigantic high score of 16,000 points. Now, the only caveat to hacking this, and this is something that may be addressed now, I don't know, I didn't really look into it that much. My Game Elf, that was the 512 and 1, 619, let's just say it's the newer version. My Game Elf has 2 physical dip switches on it. One flips it from CRT to VGA. The other dip switch flips it between 2 resolutions, 640 by 480 and something like 1024 by 768, something, I don't remember off the top of my head. The older Game Elves had the same 2 dip switches, but they did a different function. One flipped it from CRT to VGA, and the other was a screen flip button so that it would flip the screen. Now, what that amounts to is, with this software currently, and again, it may be fixed, but with this software currently, the way that it's running, normally with a vertical game on a horizontal monitor, whenever if you plug a vertical game into a horizontal monitor, for instance, right here, I'll show you an example. This is a, you can kind of see it from the burn in here. It says Commando. Okay, if this is a horizontal monitor, if you plug a vertical game in it, it's going to be pointing this way. The top of the game is this way, so you have to rotate a horizontal monitor from the 9 o'clock position to the 12 o'clock position to get it, and you can see, like, if I did this, then it would do it correctly. But you have to rotate it clockwise like this. With this, where the software thinks you had the flip switch on, it actually points this way, and you have to rotate the screen like this rather than like this. And what it amounts to is, if you don't have that problem addressed and you have a CRT monitor, unless you've got a really easy way to flip your screen around, that may screw with whatever you're trying to install it to. Right here I've got a VGA monitor, flat screen, mounted into a cabinet on these metal pieces that I bought at Lowe's and rigged up, and I have it rigged in with Velcro. So I can flip this and take it out and do whatever the hell I need. If I need it horizontal, vertical, up, down, left, right, whatever I need to do, it's no big deal because it's in there with Velcro. So that may be something you need to keep in mind if you're going to do that. But I just wanted to show this in action and say that with a little bit of software and a little bit of elbow grease, you can transform your horizontal Game Elf into a vertical Game Elf. Or if you just want to update it, if you've got an older version, smaller game list, you can put a newer version on it, because all of the hardware is the same. It's the same shitty cell phone processor. I don't know what the exact megahertz is, but it's really small. It might be less than 1 gigahertz or maybe less, but it's all the same hardware on these Game Elves. The only difference is the SD card that contains the Linux kernel and the crappy MAME ripoff that they put in there. So I had a horizontal Game Elf, a 619 and 1, that was gathering dust because it just doesn't have the horsepower to emulate newer late 80s, early 90s arcade games. Grabbed a vertical cabinet, threw it in that, changed the software, which costed me the price of like a $3 flash card and a little bit of my time, and downloaded some free software, followed a little bit of instructions, and now I have the Game Elf that's actually able to do something. I'm actually able to get some use out of it on this vertical cabinet. So if that's something you may be interested in doing, you got a vertical cabinet, you might want to check into that. You can do it for free, cost you nothing, and you can get a little bit of use out of it. And it actually runs a lot of games better than what the horizontal one does. And again, you'll have to excuse this cabinet. It's a very crappy cabinet, and the monitor's crappy flat screen VGA monitor, but there you go. Horizontal Game Elf running vertical software, and you can do it with no problem. You probably see some people on here that have customized the Game Elf menu, added new art, layout. You can do that too. I've not gotten into it, and it's really not that big a deal because I don't look at the front end that much. I'm looking at the games more than I am the front end, so it's not that big a deal to me. But you can customize that too if you want to invest the time in it. But again, here you go. Vertical Game Elf. Started out as a 512-in-1. By the time the seller sent it to me, I guess I bought it a year ago, the SD card that came in it was a 619-in-1, and now it is running the vertical, I believe it was 422-in-1 software. I've got the game list pared down here, so I don't think I've got all 422 games on it, but works fine. If you have a vertical cabinet and you've got a Game Elf that's gathering dust, or you have a way to flip your monitor around or something like that, or maybe you're not even running a cabinet, maybe you're running it by itself, just hooked up to a computer monitor, you can do it. Saves your high scores up there, that big monstrous 27,000 in Pac-Man, and you're good to go.